And we should also say, obviously, in advance of the big Supreme Court decision tomorrow, our NBC News Wall Street Journal poll also asked people about health care. 37% say they'd be pleased if the president's health care law is struck down. 22% would be disappointed, but 39%, that's the largest number, say their reaction would be mixed. Let me bring in Senator John Barrasso, a Republican from Wyoming. Senator, good morning.
Good morning, Chris.
If the health care law is struck down, the headline in Politico right now is GOP in no rush to legislate. Is there a plan B? What's going to happen if all or part of this law is struck down, at least from the Republican perspective?
Well, if only part of the law is struck down, the Republican plan would be to repeal the rest of the law. But I have to tell you, as a doctor, someone who ran for office because I know we have problems with the health care system. It was bad before, but the Obama health care law actually makes it worse. And I agree with your previous discussion. This is going to be a referendum on the president. This election, with 8.2% unemployment and so much uncertainty because of the health care law, businesses, entrepreneurs are afraid because they just don't know the cost of some of these things. They're not willing to hire more people right now, and that is hurting the economy.
Yeah, but for the average American, and there are a lot of them for whom this is already benefiting, 3.1 million young people who have been added to their parents' plans because they're still in school, 67,000 people with pre-existing conditions who can get insurance now, 5.1 million seniors who have gotten discounted prescription drugs. What do you say to them?
Well, I say the health care system wasn't working before, and it's not working now, and it's worse under the president's health care law. Insurance companies have already said that many of those people are going to be able to continue to stay, those young people, on their parents' plan, regardless of what the Supreme Court does. I can tell you, for people with pre-existing conditions, my wife's a breast cancer survivor. She's been through 3 operations, chemotherapy twice. I know the need as a doctor and as a husband of being able to address the issues of people with pre-existing conditions. States have done that with high-risk pools and have done it in a way that is much more cost-effective than what this massive 2,700-page law that very few people have read, and it's even harder to understand after you've read it. So we need a step-by-step solution.
There can be a debate about some of the points that you talk about, but let me ask you about something Sarah Palin put on her Facebook page last night. She still is insisting that the health care law includes death panels. I'm quoting her here. Though I was called a liar for calling it like it is, many of these accusers finally saw that Obamacare did in fact create a panel of faceless bureaucrats who have the power to make life and death decisions about health care funding. If a constituent came to you, Senator, and said, is she telling the truth? Are there death panels? How would you respond?
I want to eliminate the entire law, have the entire law repealed. There is a portion of the law, the Independent Payment Advisory Board, unelected bureaucrats who are going to determine how much, if anything, is paid for different kinds of care in this country. Very little way for Congress to overrule that. That is another reason we need to eliminate the entire health care law and then start in a step-by-step process to get what people wanted from the beginning,
but the law
which was the care that they need from a doctor they choose at a low cost. That's what the health care reform really should have been about, and the president ignored the cries of the American people.
But let me read the specifics of what it says. It says that it is prohibited by law to recommend any policies that ration care, raise taxes, increase premiums or cost sharing, restrict benefits, or modify who is eligible for Medicare. So I'm just trying to understand what your position is. Do you believe that under the health care law that some sort of death panel is created?
I believe that this IPAB, this Independent Payment Advisory Board, is going to be focused on what they reimburse for health care in this country for different procedures and treatments. And by ratcheting down what they've been paying for different things, that is going to have an impact and will basically result in denying care to people, with a decision being made by a unelected group of bureaucrats, as opposed to decisions being made by the patient and their doctor working together. We shouldn't put anyone between a doctor and their patient. Not an insurance company bureaucrat or a government bureaucrat.
Senator John Barrasso, we appreciate you taking the time. Thanks so much for being with us.
Thanks for having me.